hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
And we got car restarts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. Spectacular fashion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast here on V-Speed this evening. Is tonight the Goat Locker Racing Cruisin Classics Next Gen Premier Series heads to Homestead Miami Speedway for race number 2 of our fall season. And not only are we heading to one of the best tracks on the entire service, but as an added bonus, it is college night here in Goat Locker, presented by Cruisin Classics. Whether you're singing Shout Up in Eugene, Oregon, or doing the Gator Chomp in Gainesville, the drivers of Goat Locker are ready to rep their favorite schools tonight in hopes of bringing home that victory. We're going to be bringing you all the action right here on V-Speed. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Daniel Cunningham. Alongside me up here in the booth, filling in for Jake Reeves, going to be Logan Threlkeld. Our producer in the booth tonight is Lucas Lyons, with cameras courtesy of Dougie Beard. Logan, thank you, buddy, for filling in here. I can only assume that Jake Reeves is still recovering, talking to college night, recovering from his Crimson Tide losing to Florida State this weekend. So appreciate you stepping in. How you feeling tonight, and what do you think we're in for here as we head to Homestead?
I'm feeling pretty good, Dan. Thanks for having me, buddy. Loving the college night theme here. I think that's only going to heat up the competition as you get around some of these other cars that might be a rival school. It could turn out to be a wild ride here tonight as we make our way down to Homestead, Miami, one of my favorite tracks on the service. And while we're talking about that, let's just talk a little bit about Homestead, Miami. Why don't we? And it is a beautiful track down here. As we bring up the info, opened up just a few years before I was born, November 5th, 1995. 1.5 miles around this circuit with 18 degrees of banking in the corners. The front stretch, also a little bit of banking, not as extreme as where you'd see anywhere else. Relatively flat, 3 degrees. You're going to see it is a 4-corner D-oval. It races a lot differently than most of the other kind of 4-corner D-oval tracks. It's a very fast-paced race, long straight, long back straight and front straight, big sweeping corners. It's going to be very interesting once we get these drivers up on the high line of the track, Dan.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thanks for making me feel old there, Logan, because I was 4 years old when this track opened, and you're reminding me that you were not even born yet. So thanks for that. Let's take a quick look at our schedule as we get ready to kick off here at Homestead this evening. As you can see, next week, we're going to be heading to Atlanta, one of our 2 Dash for Cash races. Then we are off to the great state of New York for Watkins Glen, Texas, Gateway, Darlington for the first half of the season. Daytona Road Course, that's going to be an interesting one, a little bit of a different wrinkle, one we don't normally run in any of the NASCAR type of series. Second Dash for Cash race at Pocono, wrapping up the regular season at Dover. Then we head to Charlotte and Bristol for the round of 12, Michigan and Phoenix for the round of 8 in the playoffs. And I don't think they could have picked a better track to host that championship race out at Kansas Speedway. So a lot to look forward to here on the season. A lot of We got those Dash for Cash races. We got another theme race coming up at Darlington here in a few weeks. So a lot of cool stuff going on. And Logan, you've got the details for the race tonight, what these drivers are going to be up against. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect here this evening.
Well, we're going to expect at least 100 laps on the night, 45 miles an hour down pit road. When we're going to see that, it's going to be about 63 to 67 laps into the fuel run on a green flag run. 3 tire sets available, so we'll likely see this field come down for the tires before we see that full run on the fuel cell. And I say expect at least 100 laps because we do have 2 green-white checkered attempts at the very end of it if we need it. Last week, green to checkered, looking to repeat that here at Homestead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Going green to checker at Talladega is no small feat. Really just showcased why these drivers are here in the Premier Series. Last week's winner was Ryan Pendleton, and he was also the winner at Homestead last season when the series raced here. So yeah, he's going to be trying to go back to back tonight. One of those drivers that's out there repping the college paint schemes. So be interesting to see if he can pull it off and see if he can get that back to back and also defend that race win. So, Logan, you mentioned too, this being a track that, they're going to come down for tires before they get to the end of that fuel run. So, pit strategy definitely going to play into that as well. We'll see how all of that shakes out as we get into the race. But as it currently stands, these drivers have finished qualifying. We are ready to hand out the pole award here this evening. It's going to be brought to you by Jam Printing and Promotions for that pole award. And since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning. Local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. That driver that's going to be starting on the Jam Printing and Promotions pole award, none other than the driver we were just talking about, the 23 of Ryan Pendleton in that Ohio State scheme. It's going to be starting from the pole here this evening. We're going to give you the full grid rundown here. Starting to his outside, the 36 of George Jewell. Starting in the 3rd position, we've got Cody McElwain, 18 on the scoring, car number 6 on the screen. Starting to his outside in 4th is going to be the 15 of Jamie Barkas. Rolling off from the 5th position, we've got Timothy Wilms. Starting in 6th, Cody Anderson in the 20. Starting in 7th, Jeremy Gardner in the 57. To his outside, the boss man himself, Patrick Drabick, rolling off in 8th. Rounding out the top 10, we've got James Silvers in that 4 car starting in 9th. Jamie Libke in the 16 starting in 10th.
Just behind our top 10 in 11th, it's the one of Eldon Stewart next to the 27 of Jacob Ellingson. In 13th, the 33 of Tyler Justice lines up next to the 75 of Chuck Pegleg Feltz. In 15th, it'll be the 26 of Logan Big Fish Barbecue Sturgeon next to the 78 of Cody Bain. In 17th, Michael Kostick lines up the 3 next to the 77 of Tyler Evans on the outside. And last but not least, in the top 20, the 84 of Charles Stevens next to the 25 of James Kaufman.
Rounding out the rest of our field here this evening, we've got Charles Abert starting in 21st. Alex Cruz rolling off in 22nd. Starting 23rd, we've got Corinne Smith with Matt Knights to her outside in 24th. 25th, we've got Ricky Sisk Jr. rolling off in that number 12. Bobby Germain did not turn at time. Don't believe he actually took the grid. And just also real quick, we want to give a shout out to James Goshen running race control here this evening. Not showing on the screen anywhere, but definitely want to make sure that he is recognized as well. believe we actually do have one more starter in the field. It looks like Jacob Lenke is going to be rolling off in 27th. Didn't show up initially, but also out there running this evening. But Logan, we've got them gridded up. They are rolling through 3 and 4, getting ready to take the green flag here this evening. Pace car is off. Barney's got the green flag in hand. We are underway for college night here at Homestead. And as the drivers work out of turn 2, coming down the back straightaway, Ryan Pendleton able to clear as we've got a driver around already. Looks like the 27 of Jake Ellingson. Also see the 1 of Eldon Stewart caught up in that as well. Caution is out early here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Have to cue this up on the instant replay to take a look at what happened for 2 of our drivers running into some problems here early on.
Yeah, not an ideal situation, not even around the track one time. Back here on the replay, you see where the 1 of Eldon Stewart, the 27 of Jake Ellingson, side by side battling for that position. 2 cars battling for 1 spot on the track. You can only go down so low, you can only come up so high. Take it back one more time here. Couldn't quite see. If we could get it just a little bit further back and let this one develop, maybe out of turn 2. There we go. We'll take it right from the start, Dan.
Yeah, and you could also see there was a big hit for Ricky Sisk and Alex Cruz there as well. Take a look at what happened. A little bit of 3-wide action here early on. Ellingson in the middle of that. Looks like he came down just a little bit maybe. Wasn't quite clear of the 1 car. Just difficult to really put that on either driver there. Just 3-wide, difficult to say exactly where you're at on the track. Also a good job by Jacob Lenke there to get checked up and avoid making contact with the cars as they were spinning. But that's going to put us under an early caution here with Ryan Pendleton out front. And Logan, one thing that we didn't quite get to there in the pre-race was who we might think actually win this race tonight. So do you have a pick or somebody that you're looking at as a potential winner, or maybe just a driver to watch?
You know, I'm going to have to say, I'm going to pick this one based off the paint schemes. Coming over here with a little experience in the next-gen car, so I'm not sure who's faster where, but I feel like it's fair for the paint scheme battle, and I'm really eyeballing that Florida Gator scheme on the 15 of Jamie Barkus. It's looking pretty good. It's got a nice spec map on it. It's got a nice shimmer as it's underneath the lights, but I really like that 18 of Cody McElwain with the Bama. Roll Tide. Let's go, Dogs. That's my pick right there. Cody McElwain in the 18.
Well, I like how you shouted out a couple different colleges there. So, you know what? I'm with you. I think that I'm going to make my pick based off of the paint scheme. That 20 car of Cody Anderson, even though I'm an Oregon fan and he made that paint scheme to rib me just a little bit, picking a rival of Oregon, it's a good-looking paint scheme. So for my pick tonight, I'm going to have to go with somebody completely different. I'm going with the 26 of Logan Sturgeon because he's got my favorite paint scheme out there. He's an Ohio State fan taking a little rib at Michigan there. You can see the binoculars, a little bit of a nod to the cheating scandal that went on. So, you know what? That's who I'm going to pick tonight. I'm going to go a little off-grid here.
I like it. You got to have some drama in the mix, and I mean, that one really can stir up some opinions.
Well, one of the most fun things about college football are the rivalries. So you got to like taking a little bit of a dig there at your rival. You know, he could have ran something about a national championship that they won, but he'd rather just take a dig at the other team. I like it. I'm on board with it. That being said, pace car is off. These drivers are in control of Ryan Pendleton in that 23. Green flag is out. Good jump for both Pendleton and McElwain here on the front row. They're going to clear side by side behind them for third.
That's exactly what you want to do as the front runners. You want to get single filed out be able to choose the line that you want here. You've got a lot of racing surface to choose from at Homestead Miami. 3 wide opportunities all the way around the track. And right now, as you see on screen, it is a night race. Very cool out there. Only 79 degrees on the track surface. So it's going to be Grip City in Miami.
You are indeed correct. Quite a bit of grip out there. You know, we see it in real life, the drivers moving around, running different lines. You can see it here on iRacing as well, as that's Timothy Wilms up there running the top. Jeremy Gardner in the Duke car running on the bottom with Patrick Drabick right behind. And, you know, we talk about rivalries, we talk about ribbing each other. Got to wonder if Patrick Drabick is liking what he sees on the back bumper of that 57 car. I don't think you can quite see it from there, but it says "Hi Pat, bye Pat" on the back of it. As we've got a car around, and I would hate to say it, that is the driver that I picked pre-race, putting the broadcaster curse on Logan Sturgeon, the 26 around and hard into the wall.
Well, Daniel, the record continues for yourself, I have to say. As you see there, Logan Sturgeon coming down into the corner, gets loose in the middle, nearly collects it, drifting all the way down through 3 and 4. Just that slight extra touch is what finishes off the 26 and sends it backwards into the wall.
I can't help but laugh at that paint scheme a little bit. You can see he just gets loose on entry, and you're right, he does a phenomenal job. Almost saves it, contact with the 84 of Charles Stevens. Now that's going to send him back up the track. Take one more look at this on board from the 26, and we are in for one heck of a view here, I believe. See just that little bit of loose down into the turn. He's counter steering that thing for everything it's worth, but just that extra little nudge there, like you mentioned, going to send his car nose first into that outside wall. Definitely not the night that the 26 of Logan Sturgeon was looking for.
Not at all, but you saw there, I believe it was the 25 of James Kaufman, the narrow miss that we had, very close, as it was just a thread of the needle, really. But that was could have been a lot worse. Could have had a couple more cars wrapped up in it. Luckily not. Unfortunate, however, for Logan Sturgeon to be an early exit, as he's already elected to take it back to the garage.
Yeah, definitely a tough night for him. Out in front, though, one of the other Ohio State fans, Ryan Pendleton, still pacing with that school from Columbus, Ohio. And Logan, you know what else is in Columbus, Ohio? That's going to be our title sponsor of this series, Cruisin Classics. Located in Columbus, Ohio, Cruisin Classics has a beautiful 56,000 square foot showroom filled with hundreds of unique automobiles. There's something for everybody out there, out of their hand-picked selection of muscle cars and hot rods. So if you're in the area, come on down to visit the facility today and check out their website at cruisinclassics.com. We definitely appreciate their support here for this series.
Absolutely. We're doubled back up here. We're going to see some green flag action once more. As you mentioned, Ohio State on the hood of the bottom lane. Alabama on the outside lane. I'm really digging the college theme night here. This is a fantastic idea to bring to the Goat Locker community. Not only is it, just a lot of people interested in racing, but obviously college sports being a big subject here in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love when there are the themed races, not only here, but even when they do them in real life NASCAR, whether it's the Darlington throwbacks, you think back to when they used to do the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 and they would have different bands on the cars, or the Looney Tunes races. Just something fun to make things just a little bit more interesting. But for now, we've got the drivers back under green as Ryan Pendleton brings them to the restart zone. Green flag in the air. Cody McElwain trying to hang tough on the outside. Cody Anderson now up to third in that Washington Huskies car. The battle is on for position from fourth on back.
You're going to see these restarts do this over and over. Unfortunately, unable to continue the streak from last week. But this keeps things interesting as we come around to complete lap 10. The 17 stuck up on the outside line, looking for some ground and clears from the bottom. Right back on attack, though. Looks to the inside. Doesn't quite get there. To the outside now through turn 1.
Yeah, Patrick Trabick in that Indiana Hoosiers car up on the top side. That's James Silvers in the 4, repping Appalachian State. Another one of our college schemes out there this evening. Good looking scheme on that 4 car. Trabick rolling that middle groove, though, up on the top side. He's also going to look to try to get around George Jewell here for the 4th position. He ain't going to stop there. He is now putting the pressure on Cody Anderson for 3rd. I think he gained about 3 spots in that last lap there, did the 0-7 of Trabick. Trying to get back up in that middle groove and make a little bit more happen here. Not quite able to do it, but still a really nice set of turns there out of Trabick.
Absolutely. As George Jewell behind, looks to the inside as we enter turn 3. Doesn't quite get there. Forces the issue. Nearly makes contact with the left rear of Trabick. Luckily, lifts off the throttle just enough to keep that one from happening. Trabick gets a good run down the front stretch. Nearly gets to the back bumper of Cody Anderson. Looks to the outside. Nearly gets down into Anderson. That was a close call from the 07. Charges back around the outside, door to door, and will get clear before turn 3. Jewell out of shape. Into the wall behind.
That looked like the 15. That was indeed the 15 of Jamie Barkis in that Florida Gators car. So, Logan, both of our picks, actually, I think you ended up deflecting to McElwain. So, you know what? Maybe not both of our picks having problems here, but definitely another driver that we did talk about early on. He's going to lose some positions here. Slots in behind Jacob Linke in that 37 car. Put Barkis back to 15th after that contact, but back up towards the front. This battle between Anderson and Trabick is still rolling. Cody Anderson looking to the inside. Patrick Trabick running that middle groove, still trying to make it work, making some decent time up there. But even with those two racing each other, running side by side, they are right on the tire tracks of Cody McElwain for that 2nd position.
Thinking about the cool temperatures on the track and the potential fuel run that we have tonight, we can make it over halfway through the race. If these drivers can manage to save their tires enough to go that 65 laps that's expected, that could be a big advantage. So you're going to have to keep an eye out for those drivers that are pushing extremely hard right now. I almost want to say that Cody McElwain could be in more of a tire-saving mode, as he's not putting any pressure on Ryan Pendleton over a half second out.
Yeah, I think you may be right on that, just trying to conserve a little bit here. It's one of our battles for position. That is Chuck Pegleg Phelps, Michael Kostick in the 3. I'm going to go ahead and say Kostick's paint scheme counts for college night because he's got Jack Daniels on there. We all know that you ain't getting through college without a little bit of drinking to go along with your studying. So I'm going to count that one as another one of our college paint schemes. Taking a look here, that battle for position up near the front, you can see Cody Anderson still trying to get after it, but there's a new player, and that is Cody Boehm in that 78 car. He is up on the boards, almost on the Larson line up there, and he is now put himself up to that 3rd position.
Oh, and gives a huge push to Cody McElwain, almost offset too. That could have been that number 6 car or the 18 on your timing and scoring, going into the wall pretty easily. Boehm feeling comfortable up on that top line early on. He might be expecting these tires to hold on a little bit longer as he continues to rip that line. He's got about a 4 to 5 mile an hour advantage moving up 2 lanes like that. He's going to get completely clear of Cody McElwain on the bottom. And now the chase is on for the 23 of Ryan Pendleton.
Yeah, he has definitely found something up on that high line that we haven't really seen any other drivers trying as of yet. Not sure if that might be a little bit of tire conservation from some of the other drivers. I mean, I know, Logan, you had kind of mentioned having some experience here in the next gen. I haven't really run the next gen here since some of the updates they've made. So I know previously that top groove used to burn your tires up a little bit faster. Is that still the case here, or does it seem like it's kind of evened out as they've made some updates to the car?
it has gotten just a slight bit better. And what is really going to help tonight are the cool temperatures. Normally, you're seeing those tires get wore out at a pretty rapid pace when we're up in the triple digits of temperature. But again, we are under 80 degrees here on the track surface, right at 80 degrees now, rather. So it's going to be a pretty substantial extension on the life of these tires.
Yeah, absolutely. As right now, our top 4 drivers only running about 3 to 4 tenths off their fastest lap. Of course, the cautions do help out a little bit with that. You're not technically 20 laps in on tires with rolling around under pacing. So that'll also help extend this run a little bit here. See one of the first battles for position between Drabic in the 07 and you've got Silvers in the 4. That has started to settle out just a little bit here with Drabic holding on to that 4th spot. About the top 10 cars really just kind of running single file right now, just pacing themselves, trying to make sure that they've got something for a little bit later in this run.
But yet still making timely passes here. Silvers gets a big run out of turn 4. Takes a look to the outside. Drabic blocks it right down to the bottom. Silvers is at the bumper. Drabic almost comes down to him. Now going to use that number 6 of McElwain as a pick. Drabic nearly gets to the outside. Doesn't quite get there. Will he take a look to the inside in turn 3 as we make it this time around? No.
You can really see the differences in lines there with that camera angle, as it looks like maybe Patrick got just a little bit tight there in the wake of the 6 car. Thought there was going to be contact between he and James Silvers in the 4. Silvers looked like maybe lifted just a little bit to cut him a break, but up here at the front of the field for the first time this evening, we're seeing someone start to put a little bit of pressure on the 23 of Ryan Pendleton. He's led every lap so far from the pole, but let's go on board with that 78 car of Cody Bain and see what exactly he is doing as he runs up on that top groove. You can see that wheel really twitchy. Saw him back and forth on it just a little bit there, getting through the turns. And man, he is really shipping it on that outside lane, able to carry quite a bit of momentum. It's like the 23 of Pendleton able to roll just a little bit more speed through the center, but Cody gains it back as they head down the straightaway.
And this is where the tires will start to even out. As you see, Bain will elect to take the bottom line, recognizes it's time to take some heat out of the tires, slow it down a little bit. You can stay competitive as you're holding on to the draft of Ryan Pendleton here, but it's going to be, a strategic thing here before you move back up to the top line, start burning up those tires again.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be smart about when you pick and choose to go up to that top groove. So you see Pendleton able to hold off for now. That gap maintained and steady at right about 3 tenths, give or take. But for right now, Cody Bain still putting the pressure on the 23 of Ryan Pendleton. Maybe try to force him into a mistake, try to get him looking in the mirrors just a little bit. But, overall, a really strong start to the race for that 78 car, up 14 spots over where he started.
Great movement coming from Cody Bain so far, the biggest mover of the race. We got a couple others that are starting to inch closer to that number 10 mark. Ricky Sisk Jr. up 7 positions from starting back in 25th up to 18th now. Tyler Evans up 8 positions from 18th to 10. So there's still some pretty good movement availability here. Jacob Linke also up 11 spots from 26th up to 15th.
Yeah, really nice job by Jacob Linke. As you had mentioned, he is our second biggest mover of the race right now. Also taking a look here through some of the cars in this field, that's 77 of Tyler Evans cracking into the top 10. He is also up 8 positions over where he started. Another one of our good-looking college schemes that we've got out there this evening. He's trying to hunt down James Silvers there in that 4 car, repping those App State colors, trying to take another spot here within the top 10.
Oh, well, we've got a little bit of time here, a little bit of lull in the action. Let's go ahead and give another quick shout out to one of the fantastic sponsors here in the community. We'll go with Lincoln Tech, the sponsor of the IndyCar series from last night. Lincoln's mission is to provide superior education and training to our students for in-demand careers and a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They're one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses. They are the title sponsor, as I said, of the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series hosted on Tuesday nights. A very big part of Goat Locker Racing.
Definitely appreciate their support for Goat Locker. Not possible for us to do what we do up here with this, with the broadcasts and everything. Back up front, the battle is on for the lead. Cody Bame taking it to Ryan Pendleton. You can see that gap down under a 10th, tight off of turn 2. Cody Bame with the momentum. He is all over the back of that 23 car. Ryan Pendleton starting to move up just a little bit, searching for grip as they head through 3 and 4.
And if you take a look on the timing and scoring, Cody McElwain and Patrick Dravick starting to turn up the heat a little bit. They were just about a second back, now within 7/10. So if they start to work together as Cody Bame and Ryan Pendleton battle it out for the number 1 spot, we might see 2 more cars, possibly 3 or 4, enter the equation for this lead.
And as we say that, the change for the lead has taken place. Put the 78 car up to P1. Ryan Pendleton back to second. But the battle is not over yet. You can see just how much momentum Ryan Pendleton is able to carry.
Oh!
Contact. The 78 is around. He's into the wall. No caution. Actually, caution is out now. Caution did not come out right away as he slid off the racing surface, but contact between our top 2. We're going to have to cue this one up on the instant replay, Logan.
Absolutely. As Bame just made that pass for the lead. Ryan Pendleton, first time really being in the dirty air. Comes off of turn 4, tries to give that same shove that we just saw Bame put down on the backstretch. Just enough offset in that to send the 78 down to the wall. Take it to an onboard camera here with Ryan Pendleton coming down the backstretch now into turn 3. There's the pass completed. Off throttle through the bottom, rolls through it, back onto the throttle, coming through turn 4. All that speed. Oh, Bame got a little loose on corner exit. I'm not sure contact was the cause of that. It definitely assisted, but I don't think it started it.
Yeah, you know, Logan, you're 100% correct. I kind of thought at first that that may have been the case, that it looked like with the run that Ryan Pendleton had when he got up on the back of the 78, it looked like it just packed a ton of air underneath of Cody Bame and got him a little bit loose before the initial contact was even made. That was even similar to what we saw between Bame himself and Logan Sturgeon earlier when a little bit of air was packed. So something new that honestly I had not really seen before with the next gen car. It's something to keep an eye on as we go throughout the rest of the evening. But as for now, these drivers are all going to hit pit road. This is going to put them right on the edge of that window to make it to the end on fuel if it does in fact go green the rest of the way.
So this will be setting up right off of the green flag drop to be a fuel-saving race. This is what these drivers will have to do in order to make it to the end. We know the window anywhere from 63 to 67 laps. So we are right here on the edge. It's going to be a matter of who can stay in the draft the best, who can roll the corners the best. We might experience some clutching through the corners. We might even experience some of these drivers shutting the car off mid-race to save fuel if it really needs to be stretched that far.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's right on that edge. Maybe they can make it without saving, but the caution definitely going to help with that as they'll be able to shut it off and coast around under this caution to save just a little bit of fuel. But while we have a moment here, want to give a shout out to another one of our great sponsors that we have here at Goat Locker, and that is Nasty's Bar and Grill. Since March 21st of 2012, Nasty's opened its doors in Hilliard, Ohio. From the get-go, they aim to embody the energy and passion their sons Nathan and John poured into their dreams. Nathan's commitment to hospitality ensured that every guest received exceptional food and service. They're the co-sponsors of tonight's series here, the Wednesday Next Gen series. They've hosted numerous fundraisers in their establishment with the goal of raising funds to donate a sim rig to a deserving veteran or first responder. Another one of the awesome missions that we have here at Goat Locker, giving away sim rigs as well. We appreciate their support of the series, not just on Wednesday night, but of Goat Locker as a whole.
Daniel, I don't know if you see the comment in the YouTube chat, but it's got me laughing pretty good. Andy Carnes asks, was Ryan a punter for the U of O?
I did not see that, but thank you for pointing that out. That is pretty good. No, I don't believe so, but you know, we might have to ask him that if he works his way up here into the broadcast booth later for one of our podium finishes. But as it stands right now, pace car is pulling off. We've got a new driver up there on the front row with Patrick Drabick on the outside. Ryan Pendleton still your control car. Green flag back out in the air. See a couple of cars shuffling around near the back, but up front, Ryan Pendleton clear to the lead. Patrick Drabick in second. There's a new player up there in the top five too. That Duke car, the 57, Jeremy Gardner, up into one of the podium positions for the first time here tonight.
Daniel, what did you say about hopping on board with one of these drivers kind of in the mix of things right now? The 36 of George Jewell running in the 8th spot. I know he's got a driver camera on the night as well. Maybe we can get both of those pulled up here for a lap or so.
Yeah, definitely take a look here. One of the cool new features that we're rolling out with this Premier Series is doing a little bit of driver on board and a little bit of driver cams. I'm not going to lie, I don't think I'd be able to even see my screen in a room that dark. So shout out to George Jewell for being able to get that cam set up and give us an angle of exactly what he's doing here as we go through the run. As you can see, currently running in that 8th position in that UTEP, University of Texas El Paso car, trying to put some pressure on Tyler Justice for that 7th position.
What caught my eye here with Jewell's camera is the LED light bar there on the top center of the steering wheel. You can see just how little input he's having to put into the corner, but there is a lot of that counter steer coming into play as well. A lot of sawing on the steering wheel, like you mentioned earlier on board with Bame.
Yeah, it seems to be a common theme that these drivers are fighting here this evening. And I know personally the last time that I ran at Homestead, especially with the cooler track temps, seems like it really freed the car up quite a bit, where you did have to do a little bit more of that counter steering. So something to keep an eye on as we go throughout the rest of the night here.
And here's that single file racing I was mentioning about being able to save the fuel. However, we're going to have a look to the inside. Keep an eye on that purple 77 of Tyler Evans as he works to the inside of George Jewell for the 8th position. Side by side coming out of turn 4. Jewell higher up on the race line, gets a better drive off the corner, but Evans stays right there, almost latched to the left rear of the 36. Backs out of it down into turn 1. The 3 of Kostick had to check up a little bit there.
Oh, and that looked like a big wiggle out of the 36 of George Jewell off of turn 2 there. Tyler Evans in that 77, gonna think about going to the outside. Doesn't quite send it in, but leaves the bottom open for Michael Kostick in that 3 car. But for now, everybody gonna single file back out. There was a little bit of contact with the wall, a few cars back, nothing too major. But you just see right now, if this does run green to the end, it is most definitely going to be the longest green flag run that we've seen. Twice of what we've seen actually for the previous run, as George Jewell did get into the wall a little bit there. But up front,
Drabick gets around for first.
Yeah, just as soon as I'm talking about tire saving, Patrick Drabick makes me look silly on that. He says, I'm going to go ahead and take the lead and save in the clean air. He's up to the lead. Ryan Pendleton back to second. That is James Silvers in the 4 car trying to put the pressure on Pendleton now for P2.
This could be a strategy just to pick up that extra bonus point for a lap led. I'd be shocked if Drabic is already good enough into the green on the fuel. Contact made with the wall further back in the pack. But Drabic being green on fuel this early would be a very, very odd situation. I don't think that's possible just yet. So right now, he's going to be using the most fuel in the field, as Pendleton and company will be able to save it in the draft. It looks like that 23 even backing it off just a little bit more here.
Yeah, and the fuel question is going to be an interesting one, because on our pre-race analysis, we said 63 to 67 laps, and that is going to be from where the caution came out. It's going to put us right at the top edge of that. So, you know, depending on your driving style, there's a car down on the apron. That's the 20 of Cody Anderson. He's around. Timothy Wilms in the 86 making contact as well. So go ahead and chalk up a second broadcaster curse for my picks tonight. Lenke in the 37 involved as well there. Didn't quite see what happened initially. Going to have to queue up the replay here. Logan, walk us through this one.
Coming down through the corner, it just looks like Anderson gets loose. He nearly saves it out of 4, but once you get on that painted surface, it's not as sticky as the asphalt. He cannot collect it completely. Ends up sliding back up onto the track, gets into the wall, makes contact with another driver here, I believe. We're going to see that contact. Looks like it's going to be with the 37 of Lenke. Makes the most sense, as we have just 2 meatball flags on the field. That would be Anderson and Lenke.
Yeah, and I
So
believe it was
going there.
I believe it was the 86 of Wilms was involved in that as well. As actually, it looked like Lenke just got loose under braking, trying to check up and avoid Cody Anderson. So really just strange circumstance there with the 37. Not sure if he just had a lot of rear brake dialed into it. If we can, let's go on board with the 86 of Timothy Wilms, as I believe he was the one that actually made that contact with Cody Anderson. Yeah, you could see Cody coming back up across the track, just trying to save it. Nowhere for Wilms to go, repping the Drexel colors tonight on that 86. But yeah, just an unfortunate circumstance there for a few of our front runners.
That's going to put Patrick Drabic in control of this race restart. So Ryan Pendleton at a disadvantage for only the second time tonight.
And the really interesting thing that I'm looking at here, Logan, we've got a little bit of split strategy here amongst our field with whether they are pitting or not pitting. I believe this caution would put you well within that fuel window. And as it stands, it looks like our top 6 drivers should be Patrick Drabic, Ryan Pendleton, James Silvers, Tyler Evans, Michael Kostick, and Cody Boehm staying out right here. First driver off of pit road is going to be Corinne Smith in the 10 car. I believe she took fuel only on that stop. And then you've got Jeremy Gardner directly behind as the second car off of pit road. It's a little bit of a mixed bag here, something to keep an eye on once we get these cars back rolling.
Trying to look at some of the statistics here. It doesn't make much sense to bring it down for tires, as we are just in 12 laps ago. Tires are still very fresh here with that cool racing surface. So the fuel call could be the best call if we end up taking it to a green-white checkered attempt. Some of these drivers might be at threat to not make it through another few laps. We'll just have to find out, as we will be stacked back up here, coming down through turns 1 and 2. Pace car lights are off. Green flag will drop next time by.
Yeah, and actually just going back and looking, the 57 of Jeremy Gardner did in fact take tires on that last pit cycle. You know, I'm with you. It seems like that the tires wouldn't be the way to go there with just 13 laps on this stint. But you know what? I'm just sitting up here in the booth. The guys holding the steering wheel know better than I do. So I'm going to trust them on this one. And we're going to see how this plays out here as we get ready to go back green just shy of halfway. As you mentioned, the lights are off on that Ford Mustang pace car. Patrick Drabick going to be in control with Ryan Pendleton to his outside in that 23 car, bringing him down to the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. We are back underway here at Homestead as Patrick Drabick, Ryan Pendleton, pretty even on that restart. Pendleton hanging tough on the outside, but Pat going to be able to clear as they head down into one.
James Silver's in the equation for a challenge. Contact will be made with Pendleton on the outside. Silvers backs it down, doesn't want to run him up to the wall. But the number 4 machine starting to find some wind in the sails. There goes the 78 of Cody Boehm up on the outside line again, getting challenged from the inside. The 77 of Tyler Evans, and we've got one more down there. It's the 57 of Jeremy Gardner in that Duke white and blue.
Yeah, Jeremy Gardner thought about 3 wide off of turn 4 there, thinks better of it, backs off, gives a little bit of room. Really interested to see how those fresher tires help that 57 car, currently riding in P7, only up 2 spots really from where he restarted. So something to keep an eye on here as we get rolling. See Cody Boehm up there where we have come to expect him to be this evening, running that higher groove, trying to make a little bit of ground. He's side by side with Tyler Evans as they battle for 5th.
You know, looking at that call as well, Jeremy Gardner is up 2 spots, but he's yet to pass one of these drivers on the older tires. He's only made a pass on the same people that hit with him. So it's not playing in the favor just yet, but this could be a long run call. And I say that as Gardner does finally get to the inside of Tyler Evans, stuck up on the outside, clears out of turn 4 with ease, right up in front, and now holding on to the draft of Cody Boehm down the front stretch. Back to the inside goes Evans, though, nearly contact as Gardner comes down, but sticks it to the middle. Evans charging back around, door to door on exit, but Gardner will be able to drive away.
Yeah, you know, I really do like the pit call the more that I sit here and think about it, out of the 57 to take tires. You know, we're seeing it right now that the tires aren't really that huge of an advantage. So if we get another, say, 10 laps or so, and then these leaders that stayed out on the last caution do come down and pit, it would cycle Jeremy Gardner to the lead. And with the clean air, he might be hard to beat. And like you had mentioned, could be a long run decision as well. The more laps we get on the tires, that 10-lap difference may come into play. Let's take a look up here. The battle for second is on between Silvers in the 4, Pendleton in the 23. Throw Cody Boehm into that as well. They are all nose to tail as they head through 3 and 4.
Started with 26 on the field, 21 now. Still in the race with only 20 on the lead lap. Jacob Ellingson 4 laps down, but trying to claw his way back. Lucky Dogs in effect will be able to help him if we see the caution flag come out anymore tonight. But I would say most of these drivers will be looking to take it pretty easily here. Patrick Drabick, on the other hand, he's going to push it a little bit harder. 0.7 of a second separate first and second place, enjoying that clean air up at the front of the pack, but at the cost of the fuel.
As we take a look here, a few really good battles for position going on. A couple of drivers that we talked about earlier with Boehm and Pendleton battling for 3rd here. That was the battle for the lead earlier. We've also got Kostick and Gardner side by side for that 5th position. Give another spot to Jeremy Gardner. He is now up into 5th as he's able to clear the 3 of Kostick.
I like still seeing these challenges, although still having to play a strategy type race. Cody Boehm still holding on strong to the outside line, inches away from the wall. I don't know how he wasn't just riding the wall there through the middle of turn 1. He might have actually been, as he loses some ground to Ryan Pendleton, who was able to clear out up to the top with ease. And it looks like Gardner is also going to be able to challenge to the inside now.
Yeah, Cody Boehm in that 78 up there on the boards. He did make a little bit of contact with the wall through 3 and 4 that last time. The danger of running that high groove. As you can see, there's speed to be found up there. He's made it work throughout the evening, but just not a lot of margin for error we've now got 3 cars running really tight with one another for that 3rd position. Bame and Pendleton still side by side with Jeremy Gardner laying in wait behind them.
Gardner likes to see the battle ahead. He knows these drivers are using their stuff up more than he is, as he is content with rolling here in that 5th position until we get further into the race. Then that 57 will come alive here at Homestead. That is no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we get these cars settled out a little bit up front, let's take a look a little bit further back in the field. Want to shout out a battle for position that we've got going on right now between the 75 of Chuck Pegleg Phelps with Jamie Libke in position behind. You also see Charles Abert there in the 7. That 75 of Chuck Pegleg Phelps also has one of our great sponsors here at Goat Locker on the hood, and that is Save 22. As you can see, those marine colors there on the 75. Save 22 is a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Our unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars: shield, assist, volunteer, educate, and save. And gonna have to cut that just a little bit short as caution out on the speedway. Logan, I didn't quite catch who was involved in that, but did see the caution come out. I believe it was the 12 of Ricky Sisk, who is currently showing a meatball.
It would be the 12 of Ricky Sisk Jr. on the backstretch, had issues. We'll take it back here on the V-Speed Instant Replay. See, coming out of turn 2 here. I apologize, that's turn 4, a little bit sooner through this here. But down the front stretch into turn 2, it is a single car incident, I believe. Running that middle to higher line in 1 and 2, gets sideways, saves it on the bottom, but a little bit early on the throttle as it wasn't fully settled back in on that rear suspension. Slides back out from the bottom lane hard into the inside wall. Heavy damage on the front left of the 12.
Yeah, and if we can get a quick onboard with the 12 of Ricky Sisk, there was something I saw as they went through that turn. But you can see that seam on the track there. When they cross the seam, Ricky's car starts to get just a little bit loose. They cross the seam again off of turn 2, and that, they had the car almost saved, got onto that seam, and that's where the banking transitions with the way that this track is with the progressive banking, and just upsets the car just enough so that they go around not quite able to hang on to it there. And as we pace under caution here, kind of talked about maybe Jeremy Gardner might be able to flip the track position here if the caution comes out right where he needs it to. It has indeed done that just about the same way that he pitted earlier. Just 12 green flag laps on the tires. Jeremy Gardner going to stay out here and inherit the lead.
And we still have 1 set of tires remaining in the pits for Jeremy Gardner, and really the rest of the field is now from 9th place on back, has brought it in for their 2nd set, and likely putting a little bit more fuel in here as we have continued with collecting a few cautions, now 5 on the race. You have to keep in mind the potential for a green-white checkered attempt or 2 to be used. So you want to be able to make sure you can make it to the end of those extra laps. Otherwise, it's all for nothing if you're in the lead of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of insurance here in case of that green-white checker. So just to recap here, top 8 cars on the track did not pit. That's going to be Jeremy Gardner, Cody McElwain, Tyler Justice, George Jewell, Charles Abert, your top 5, with Charles Stevens, Jamie Libke, and Chuck Pegleg Phelps. The top 8 cars that did not pit. First car off a pit road going to be 9th place of Ryan Pendleton, James Silvers rounding out the top 10. We're going to see if the tires make a bigger difference here on this restart compared to what we saw the last time. The fresher tires also starting a little bit further back, so another bit of a wrinkle in the strategy here.
It can certainly shake things up. Ryan Pendleton, James Silvers will be side by side for row 5. The first 2 cars on the freshest tires. Gardner all the way back to 8th on 15 laps now, starting lap 16. Pace car is off. Geico restart zone we go. Green flag drops to start lap 62, and the race is on to the end of lap 100.
One thing about it, we can take all that fuel strategy and throw it out the window at this point. These drivers definitely going to be good to make it to the end now. Jeremy Gardner clear to the lead. Cody McElwain cleared up for second now with Tyler Justice, Charles Stevens. Your top 4 cars all running pretty tight together. You can see that Roll Tide color there in second, but Tyler Justice tries to make a move to the outside, not quite able to. He's going to slot back in line. George Jewell with a nice recovery, gaining some track position back. And that first car on fresh tires, James Silvers, now up to the 6th position.
James Silvers with a lot of support in the YouTube chat here tonight as well. I see a lot of company going for Go Silvers, go number 4. So big time momentum here. If he had an eye on the chat, you got a lot of eyes to impress as he makes the move on the bottom work. Around George Jewell he goes, and it came in 3 wide, exited 2 wide. It's going to continue as the 4 will be challenged now from the 84 of Charles Stevens in 6th place.
And again, talking about those fresher tires, the 78 of Cody Bame, he was one of those that came down and pitted, put the 4 fresh tires on. He's up there where we've seen him all evening, right up there in that top groove. He's looking to make the pass on Cody McElwain for second. Got the momentum down the straightaway. He is going to easily clear. He's up to P2. He's going to set his sights on that 57 of Gardner.
Silvers finally gets cleared of the 33. Tyler Justice. Oh, Bame made contact with the wall out of 2. That'll slow him up just a touch, but the blocking coming from that 6 machine of Cody McElwain. He's putting that dirty air right on the nose of James Silvers as they get down into corner exit. Slides up in front. That could be a risky move. We saw it once where that air gets packed on the rear end. The blocking continues as finally Silvers shoots the outside. He's going to try to roll that momentum like he sees the 78 ahead. He does not want to be behind Cody McElwain any longer. Side by side nearly for the lead.
A big move for position there out back, but you can see right there Cody Bame putting it up on that top groove. He's got the momentum. He's alongside Jeremy Gardner. He's got the momentum down the straightaway. Put the 78 back up to P1. The recovery drive is on from that earlier spin that we saw. Cody Bame going to try to set sail here with those fresher tires, making a bit more difference than what we saw earlier. And just a really impressive run to get up through the field. It's a little farther back. George Jewell with a big moment in the 36. Got a little bit loose off a turn 2, down onto the apron, able to save it. Really nice job to hang on to that car out of the 36.
And just ahead of him, that battle with Jamie Barkas and Timothy Wilms nearly came to a sudden end. The 15 almost got into the rear end of Timothy Wilms at an on-corner entry. Luckily, made a quick adjustment, got around to the outside, but we might have seen that one happen live. That was extremely close.
Yes, sir, indeed. It was close. As you see, also got the 16 of Jamie Lipke there repping the North Dakota State colors this evening. Nice to see a little bit smaller school get some recognition here with one of our drivers. And, you know, just again, we talked about the college night theme throughout the night. It's just really cool to see how many drivers have taken this to heart, rep their favorite colors. We've seen quite a few of them up there. Even though our leader is breaking up the costume party, he doesn't have a college scheme, but still really cool to see a lot of these schemes as we see 2 Big Ten schools in Indiana and Ohio State going to battle here just outside the top 5. That's Pendleton and Drabick. Patrick Drabick going to take the position. He's going to try to get another one here on Tyler Justice, go for a little 2-for-1.
Oh, he gets loose. It comes down in front of Pendleton.
Both cars are around. Caution is out. Drabick able to hang on to it. Looked like the 77 of Tyler Evans caught up in the aftermath of that. Just as we were talking about the battle for position, contact between the two Goat Locker drivers.
It all just starts with this big send down into the corner, around the outside. There it is. The back end starts to step out. That's the difficult part to drive with these. Oh, it's the 84 of Charles Stevens getting a little bump in there. But these next-gen cars, the feedback from the rear end as you're driving around these tracks, it is not as ideal as you would like it to be. It's very hard to catch the slide as late as you start to actually recognize the rear end coming around.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. One of the big challenges with this next-gen car is just not having a whole lot of feel in it. And you can see the 07 starts to go around. Oh, and that was, man, Charles Abert got caught up in that. The 77 of Tyler Evans. We're actually going to take a quick look on board with the 77 of Tyler Evans. See exactly what he saw through this wreck. See everybody checking up, does a good job of getting on the brakes there. When he's on the brakes, he puts just a little bit of counter steer into it to try to avoid the spinning cars, and up into the wall he went. I believe the 10 of Corinne Smith actually got a little piece of that as well.
I think so. We saw Charles Abert end up sideways on the backstretch from the contact too. So we're going to collect a little bit more damage here. But overall, Cody Bame still holding down the lead. James Silvers in the 4 has made his way up to second. Now that we've got some action down pit road once more.
Yeah, and again, a split strategy here. The top 4 cars staying out. Cody Bame, James Silvers, Michael Kostick, and Matt Knights staying out on the older tires. First driver off of pit road is going to be Cody McElwain, followed by Tyler Justice in 6th, Jeremy Gardner 7th, Charles Stevens 8th, Chuck Pegleg Feltz in 9th, and Jamie Libke in 10th. So, yeah, definitely a mixed bag of strategy here, as we did see the tires make quite a bit of difference. Be something interesting to keep an eye on as we get ready to go back green here. Lights off on the pace car for the 1 to go. While we have a quick moment, though, just want to give a shout out to another one of our awesome sponsors that we have here at Goat Locker, and that's going to be InVets. InVets aids in transitioning to civilian life, focusing on job placement and finding the right community for veterans and their families to ensure their success and happiness. They're a veteran nonprofit in Indiana with the goal of bringing veterans to that state to live and work, and they are the title sponsor for our Sunday Xfinity series, and we appreciate their continued support of Goat Locker Racing. Well, Logan, we're getting down to the last quarter of this race as we work lap 73 here. I don't think we are done necessarily with the cautions, but I don't think we're done with the side-by-side, with the beating and banging, with the moves that we've seen here. I think we are in for quite an exciting finish.
Absolutely, we are, especially in the last 10 laps. We know and love the last 10 laps to be some of the most exciting racing that you will come across. We're going to get real close on that front row. Into the Geico restart zone we go. Cody Bame back on the loud pedal, and James Silvers tries to keep up. They both get a great jump, but Bame does get clear down into turn 1. 3 wide for P4. That's Cody McElwain on the bottom. Tyler Justice and Matt Knight stuck up out on the top. It sorts itself out. Justice and McElwain come out side by side. The drag race down the backstretch for P1 is on. Silvers dives down to the bottom. Bame sticking to that top line.
Yeah, Cody Bame, I've raced with him in quite a few series. I know he likes to run the dirt stuff. He's looking like a dirt driver up there, ripping the fence this evening, sticking right where he's been comfortable at all evening. He's got the lead here as we get down to 25 to go. James Silvers still staying pretty consistent, wrapping that bottom, able to hang with Bame. You can see just that little puff of smoke every now and then off of that 78 car, making ever so slight contact with the wall. A little bit further back, though, taking a look at some of these drivers on tires, they are 3 wide for position. That's Pendleton in the middle, Charles Stevens on the bottom, Jamie Lipke up top. They get it sorted back down to 2 wide. You can see the damage on that 85 car, the 84 car rather, entire nose pushed in from earlier. But these drivers using every inch of this racetrack, trying to make the ground where they can while the tires still have that grip in them.
Dravic now trying to recover from his incident. Ended up with an EOL, causing one of those previous cautions. Started at the back of the pack, working his way up now through 14th, challenging Chuck Phelps here in the 75. We've seen a couple 3-wide situations there as Dravic finally gets clear. The 75, the 77 of Evans shoots down into the bottom lane. And this battle back here in the mid-pack is hot, but up at the front, James Silvers and Cody Boehm going at it once more. They got side by side. Boehm into the wall, middle of the corner. This is going to give the advantage to Silvers. Can he get clear? No, not quite. Side by side down the front stretch.
Indeed, they are side by side. You called it. 78 got into the wall just a little bit. He's still committed to that top groove, and you can see right there the momentum that he is able to carry from middle exit. Car twitching just a little bit. He is able to clear back to the lead over James Silvers, but behind them, lurking in third position, is 18 on the scoring pylon, 6 on the car. That's Cody McElwain. He is the first driver on fresher tires, as James Silvers actually now able to clear for the lead over the 78 of Cody Boehm. He's going to try to set sail. But if I were either one of these top 2, I would be worried about that car riding in third with that tire advantage.
12 laps of advantage can be huge at most tracks tonight. Again, such a cool racing surface. It has not gone up at all. Still 80 degrees on the asphalt here in Miami. So these tires, they might not come into as much of play. It's going to be the battling here for the lead between Silvers and Boehm that allows Cody McElwain to enter the equation again. Michael Kostick, Tyler Justice, Jeremy Gardner, they have all turned on the Jets as they have settled away from 6th place to 7th, a 1.3 second gap.
And you're absolutely right. Those tires not playing really as big of a factor as we're used to seeing here, as it looks like the top 3, or top 3 of the top 4 rather, still on those older tires. Cody McElwain, the only one of those front few that is on the fresher tires. Tyler Justice in 5th also did pit on that last caution. But yeah, just not making the headway here early on. But as we get deeper into this run, we'll see if it does prove to be a bigger advantage. Cody Boehm back up to the top side for now. He's trying to still get some momentum up there on the top, but put McElwain now within about a half a second of these two. He's pulled back 2/10 as they continue to battle for position.
Ryan Pendleton back in P10, was trying the same line, ended up riding the wall all the way through turns 3 and 4, lost a spot to Dravic, now has lost a spot to the 84 of Charles Stephen, at risk of losing another to Chuck Phelps. Oh, contact behind! Jamie Barkas gets sent down to the infield, but keeps it off the wall.
And the caution did come out there, Logan. I think that they threw that for the 15 of Barkas. I did not expect him to be able to really hang on to it the way he did. You can see comes off the turn, just a touch loose. Didn't even hit the inside wall. That is about as big a save as you can get. We got to take a look at the onboard of that from the 15 of Barkas. We're about to see a wheelman make a move right here.
And this is just about the scariest part of the track to see coming up in the windshield. A little bit of net code here at play. As you see, no contact will be made, but watch this wall. Oh, that's not flush. But he keeps it off of both the bad angles that you don't want to hit here. The inside wall is very dangerous. It's not nearly as forgiving as the outside wall.
Yeah, that was an absolute whale of a job there to hang on to that and not make contact. That caution is going to give our drivers an opportunity to come down and take their last set of tires here this evening. Again, going to be your top 5 all staying out. Also staying out on tires, Jamie Libke in 6th, Charles Stevens in 7th, Chuck Pegleg Feltz in 8th. First drivers on tires, James Silvers in 9th, Cody Bame in 10th, and they are not going to have a whole lot of time to use them.
The drivers staying out, Dan, we have already seen on pit road at least 3 times. So they have used that third and final set on the last caution. So that's where we're seeing that flip. Now James Silvers, Bame, Kostick, Drabick, Barkus, Matt Knight, some of these drivers in pit lane not able to take that last set of tires as they are already gone just down there to possibly fix up some damage that might be left over from some previous contact. But it's going to be interesting here. We've seen this, discrepancy between our groups on the tire strategy that now it's not been big in the factor department.
No, it's not been as big of a factor as we are used to seeing. We've touched on it here throughout the evening, and now starting back on that 5th row in tires, you've also got to take into consideration, aside from just not having the track position, there's a few drivers that stayed out that do have a little bit of damage here. So depending on what lane you get, what lane you're in, who you're restarting behind, may be difficult to navigate your way up through the field. But one thing about it, they're going to have 15 laps to go, and they're going to have some time, some options on lanes to pick to be able to try to make it happen.
But this is where you're going to see that battle really start to intensify. It is now or never. We obviously have some potential for yet another caution on the night. We've seen 7 so far, but the pace car is going to dip off one more time. Daniel, take it away.
As you can see, Cody McElwain in the lead here. He's the control car. Green flag is out. Little bit of a lane change there out of McElwain before the start-finish line. Not sure how race control may view that. Wasn't a big move, but behind him for second, you got Gardner on the inside, Tyler Justice on the outside. They are trying to settle that battle quickly so they can try to get up there to McElwain. Timothy Wilms with the nice recovery from earlier contact with Cody Anderson. He's up in the top 5. George Jewell still riding around in 5th right now, trying to make some moves as well. But here we go for position. The tires, they're coming up through the field. Bame and Silvers trying to make their way. Cody Bame trying to run that top groove. Just nowhere to go. Stuck behind Jamie Libke. Silvers on the bottom. Boxed in behind George Jewell. Just nowhere for them to go right now.
And Libke into the wall in front of Bame. Bame gives a good push to get him back up to speed, but that's not going to be good. Into the wall one more time, down into 3. James Silver's now stuck 3 wide and boxed in still behind Jewell. Contact with Drabick on the inside. Contact again. Here we go. Silvers finally gets to the outside. Bame follows. Drabick has to check up now behind the 36.
Yeah, that was a big moment there. Some door banging off of turn 2 between the 4 and the 36. Silvers and George Jewell, they get it sorted out. They keep them in the right direction for now. Silvers running that middle groove. Cody Bame up there along the wall where we've seen him all evening. They're thinking about 3 wide off of turn 4. Bame trying to keep that momentum. He's going to be able to clear. Patrick Drabick also able to get around the 36. Bame now up into 6th, put James Silvers into the top 5. He's going to be the first car on fresher tires. But Logan, they are running out of time to try to get up there and get to our leaders.
Cody McElwain with an 0.8 of a second advantage and growing over Jeremy Gardner. Gardner needs to turn on the jets, but the battle for third still trying to get settled out. Wilms and Justice. Justice on the outside line, the yellow and white of the 86 on the inside. Here comes Silvers taking a peek to the middle. Bame right behind, still ripping the wall. And Patrick Drabick trying to make something happen here. Bame gives a push down to Silvers now into turn 3.
Bame and Silver's trying to decide who's going to be the first car on those fresher tires. Looks like James Silvers gets a little bit tight there behind Tyler Justice on the bottom. He slides up, they make contact. The 4 into the wall. Cody Bame up there gets a piece of that as well. Our top 2 drivers on tires make contact. That is going to bring out the caution. Take a look at this one on the V-Speed instant replay.
Looks like it's going to be pretty minimal damage for both the 4 and the 78. Luckily, it might have a chance to recover. But here you see Silvers pushing up the track, just as you mentioned, got tight. Just not enough room, not clear of the 78. Did not look like he was trying to slot into position. I genuinely think it was just a little bit of aero issue for the 4 Silvers.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look on board with the 78 of Bame here as we ride along. And you mentioned that aero definitely going to play a factor with these cars bunched up as they are. The 4 of Silvers comes up just a little bit. Cody up there in that 78. Not sure if maybe Silvers had the spotter call or if he just wasn't quite able to get checked up in time, but definitely slides up in front of the 78 there. And that is going to set us up for a late race restart here. These drivers going to need to be up on the wheel for this final restart. And Logan, you know what would help them out with being up on the wheel for this final restart? If they had a little...
Yeah, I think some gloves from Glove Station would help them get up there.
I think that would help them out quite a bit. Glove Station, another one of our great sponsors that we have here at Goat Locker. They are committed to providing quality gloves and protective gear for a wide range of your daily activities and jobs. From tinkering on home DIYs to working in industrial environments and everything in between, they got you covered. With endless amounts of safety products on the market, they want to make it effortless for you to find the right protection for your needs. You never know, you might just find yourself a nice pair of racing gloves on there too.
I know a couple of these drivers here do actually race with some of the Glove Station gloves already. So love to see that that is already, come into play here within the community. Love seeing the support of our fantastic sponsors, from our drivers through and through, everybody else involved. Looking forward to seeing what lap 100 brings here as Cody McElwain. Don't forget who picked him at the top of the show will be in control of this restart to lap 94. And Jeremy Gardner, as I've mentioned multiple times, he's bad fast. He's got an opportunity here to make something happen for the 57 team.
Yeah, thanks for rubbing that in there, Logan, to remind me that the guys that I mentioned pre-race have both been caught up in incidents, and your pick is in control here. But just a little bit of housekeeping here before we go back green. On that prior incident, 4 of James Silvers was given an EOL by race control as a result of that incident. Cody Bame still up there in the top 5. He's going to be that 3rd car in line on the bottom. We've seen him make some aggressive moves. He does still have that tire advantage. It'll be interesting to see what he can do here. Also on that 3rd row, the boss man himself, Patrick Drabick, in that Indiana University car, going to be trying to make some moves here as well. He does have the tire advantage also. I think we are setting up for an absolutely fantastic finish here.
And just one more thing of note, Jacob Ellingson finally back onto the lead lap and has come down 4 fresh tires. So the 22 lap advantage on some drivers, 10 lap advantage on others. Will he be able to collect a couple more spots and maybe get a little bit closer to the top 10 before we see the checkered flag?
Yeah, pretty remarkable that he's made his way back to the lead lap at 1.4 plus laps down. But right now, field in control of Cody McElwain. Green flag back out in the air. We are back racing here. McElwain with a really nice jump side by side for second. It's Duke and Drexel. 2 college basketball powerhouses battling for second here on college football night. Doesn't matter. Jeremy Gardner clears through to second. He's going to try to get up there and put the pressure on McElwain for the lead.
And Bame has made his way back up to the top 5 for this restart. He will continue to rip that top line as he's nearly put 3 wide coming off of turn 4. It gets settled out, but Patrick Drabick looking to take advantage and up into the top 4 to get ahead of the 86 of Timothy Wilms. Also trying to rip that top line behind Bame.
Cody Bame now has finally cleared through up to that 3rd position. So you can see Drabick and Wilms still going at it for P4. Timothy Wilms, big shout out to him. We mentioned that damage that he got earlier with the contact from Cody Anderson. Really impressive that he's been able to run up here in the top 5 as he has, maintain that track position. But up ahead of him now, Patrick Drabick says, I'm going to try to get Barkus up on that top groove, trying to make some moves, trying to carry some momentum. Not sure if it might just be a matter. Yeah, this looks like similar to what we've seen on a few other incidents here this evening. Car just snaps around on him, and it looked like that was the 77 of Tyler Evans that also got a piece of that.
So a couple more drivers getting wrapped up. This will put us in green-white checkered territory. Attempt number 1 will be coming at you here after we get back from pacing. 15 of Barkus will have a little bit of damage to get repaired. We'll see if Pendleton will bring it down for some repairs here as they are making their way down through turns 3 and 4. Silver's looking to bring it in as well. Pendleton follows, as well as Barkus. So exactly as expected. Cars to get damage repaired. Might as well bring it down.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you know, Logan, you mentioned it in our pre-race when you went through the race details. You said we were running at least 100 laps here this evening. This is going to put us into the first of 2 green-white checker finishes. So for those that may not be quite familiar with the green-white checker procedures, they're going to get 2 attempts at it. If the caution comes out on this first one before they get back to take the white flag, we'll rack them up, we'll restack them, do it again. If on the second attempt, the caution comes out before we get to the white flag, field's going to be frozen. That's going to end the race. However, if they take that white flag, no more cautions. We're racing back to the line. So just to give a quick run through of what to expect here once we get back going. And Logan, this is gearing up to be something wild here with what we've seen with some of these moves.
We saw a very wild move last night in the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series, a last-ditch effort down into turn 3 at Texas with Rick Ray Vaughn sending it 3 wide middle to make it all the way back to the start-finish line. I would say we're going to have 2 nights back-to-back where this finish is just going to be an outstanding one. One for the record books, one for the highlight reels, as we like to always view on college football. Might as well give the highlight reels a shout out.
Yep, you are absolutely correct. And the car that I'm going to keep an eye on here is that 78 of Cody Bame. He's restarting where he wants to run. Second car on the outside, that yellow 78. Keep an eye on him to see if he just absolutely ships it down here on that high side. As they get down into turn 1 and 2. This is going to be something to watch here, folks. Logan, you mentioned the highlight reel. I think we're gearing up for another one. We've already seen a bunch of fantastic finishes here in Goat Locker early on in this fall season. This one is going to be no exception. Up front, field is going to be in control once again of Cody McElwain in the Alabama car with Duke Jeremy Gardner on the outside. Pace car has pulled off, leading them into the restart zone. Green flag is out. We are back underway for a green-white checker.
McElwain continues to get those big jumps of 57 to Gardner, get spun by Drabick. That's going to be the rivalry move of the night. It is constantly back and forth between those two, and that's going to take well over half of the field.
Just an absolute parking lot down in turn 1 and 2. take a look at it here on the V-Speed Instant Replay. Jeremy Gardner did not get the restart he was hoping for. Cody Bain gives him just a little push. To the inside goes Patrick Drabick. Just slight contact with Jeremy Gardner. He gets hit by the 25 of James Kaufman. You can see the 15 of Barkus. 4 of Silver's caught up in that. Going to take a look on board with that 25 U.S. Army car of James Kaufman on this restart to see exactly what he saw through all of that. See the field 2 by 2 as they head down into the turn here. And just, you can just see just not a lot that Kaufman could do there. As Gardner comes back up the track, he's holding his brakes, doing everything he can to get that car to stop, but you're just along for the ride at that point, Logan.
That is a rapid, unscheduled motor disassembly for the Kaufman machine, the 25. That is not how you want your race to end. You completed over 100 laps. That was the start of lap 103. And it's heartbreaking to make it that far. Caustic is well wrapped up in it. I believe that's Chuck Feltz up on the top. Charles Stevens there. Not too much damage. There goes Caustic, stopped on the bottom of the track. It's just carnage all the way through turns 1 and 2 from that incident.
Yeah, a lot of drivers caught up in that. As I think it was the 36 of George Jewell that I wasn't quite sure if he made it through that or not. I saw him snaking through quite a bit of carnage there. I believe it was the 36 of George Jewell. We have to take one last look at this from where he's at down there on the bottom. It looks like, oh, he was just about through it, and the 3 of Caustic slides down the track, 36 into the wall. So yeah, that took out quite a few of our front runners here. Seen a few drivers tow, a few drivers that have hit pit road for some extensive repairs. And Logan, I got to ask one more time, what was that you called the engine issue, an unscheduled, what was it? I missed that.
Is a unscheduled rapid motor disassembly.
All right, I'm going to have to remember that. Unscheduled rapid motor disassembly. I like that. It sounds like something I'd use to pad my resume with if I had to explain what I was doing. So appreciate the commentary on that. That was pretty interesting. And, you know, our producer Lucas Lyons just made a comment to us that incident kind of reminded him of Joey Logano and Carl Edwards here a few years back. That kind of gave me vibes of that too when I was looking at it. So definitely a rough night there and a rough way to finish out the night after making it so far in. But we are lined up for one final attempt at a green-white checker finish. We've got 2 laps to settle it. If the caution comes out, that's all she wrote, folks. We've got nothing else after that. Fitting that on college night, we're going to double overtime here with Bama and Indiana up on the front row. We're going to see who comes out on top for this second race of the Goat Locker Cruisin Classics Next Gen Premier Series. Pace car makes the hard left onto pit road. Coming down to the restart zone. Green flag in the air. Another good jump for McElwain. He is out to the lead. Little bit of contact there, it looked like, with the 78. Clear Cody Bain up into second. He's going to take the top side, trying to get that momentum we've seen him carrying all night.
McElwain comfortable with the bottom here. He's going to be well clear of both drivers battling for P2. He does not want to give assistance to Bain, ripping that top line. He recognizes that he's got the extra speed off of corner exit. Contact with the wall, though, won't help, as now Drabick will be able to come out side by side or right off the rear. No, clear goes Bain, trying to keep the draft. White flag in the air. Does he have enough speed from that top line?
We've made it back around. This is the white flag lap. Cody Bain now going to be side by side with Patrick Drabick. That's only going to help the 6 of McElwain. Bain able to clear for now, but up front, that 6 car of Cody McElwain, he's got the momentum off of turn 4. Patrick Drabick now up into second. They come back to the line. Cody McElwain gonna be your race winner here for the second event of the season at Homestead Miami Speedway, holds on after leading 24 laps over Patrick Trabick and the 78 of Cody Bain.
Roll Tide McElwain. There we go. That's how you pick a race winner right there, Daniel.
Well, in my defense, when you picked him, you said Roll Tide and Go Dogs in the same sentence, and those are two different schools. So that's probably why the broadcaster Kurz missed the 6 car. At least that's what I'm going with. Cody McElwain, though, he's going to burn it down and celebrate. Also got one of his Goat Locker teammates there. Going to actually have a couple of his Goat Locker teammates coming onto the front straightaway to celebrate. We've got Wisconsin, Ohio State, Indiana, and Florida all watching the Tide burn it down here on the front straightaway. Actually, they're going to join in the festivities too with that win. But while they burn it down, while they celebrate, let's go to a quick commercial break, hear from some of our awesome sponsors that we have in this series. We'll be right back with your post-race coverage, your full race rundown, as well as interviews from our top 3 finishers.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Homestead Miami Speedway, where we just wrapped up an absolutely wild race and a wild finish here in the Cruisin Classics Next Gen Premier Series here in Goat Locker. Going to give you a full race rundown so you can see where your favorite drivers finished this evening. Coming home with the win, Cody McElwain. Patrick Drabbit coming home in second, Cody Bame in third, Timothy Wilms in fourth, Jamie Libke rounding out the top five. In sixth place, Tyler Justice. And in seventh place, this was mentioned by Samuel Yosef out there in our YouTube chat. If there's a driver of the day award, it's got to go to that 27 from 4 laps down to finishing P7. Good recovery drive for Jake Ellingson. Corinne Smith coming home in eighth. Charles Stevens in ninth. Rounding out the top 10 is going to be George Jewell.
Back in 11th, it's going to be the 7 machine of Charles Abert, followed by the double 7 machine of Tyler Evans, rounding in P12. The 57 of Jeremy Gardner, upset with the 07. There's a lot of 7s in this sequence right now. Jeremy Gardner takes home P13, followed by the 64 of Matt Knights in 14th. James Silvers, we saw battling at the front for a good majority of the race, finishes out in 15th. The 15 of Jamie Barkus takes home 16th on the night, followed by the 23 machine of Ryan Pendleton. Chuck Pegleg Feltz in the 75 takes home 18th with James Kaufman in the 25 behind in 19th. Last but not least, in the top 20, it's the 3 machine of Michael Kostick, finishing 5 laps down.
Taking a look at some of our drivers that ran into trouble early. Coming home in 21st, Ricky Sisk Jr. in the 12. Jacob Lenke coming home in 22nd. One of the drivers that I mentioned pre-race, Cody Anderson, coming home in 23rd as a result of that broadcaster curse. Eldon Stewart finishing in 24th. My official pick for the race, who I also cursed, the 26 of Logan Sturgeon, finishes in 25th position. Alex Cruz in 26th. Bobby Germain rounding out the field tonight in 27th. That's going to wrap up the field here. Logan, what do you say we get a word with our top 3 finishers and bring up our race winner who has been standing by in the waiting room, get his thoughts on all the action here this evening. Cody McElwain, this is Daniel and Logan up here in the V-Speed booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. Got you.
Well, man, congratulations on the win. You know, real quick, I just want to say this. There was a comment out in our YouTube chat, one of our followers saying that this was the best chance the Tide has to win anything this season. So a little bit of trash talking here on college.
Hey, after the performance they put on Saturday, man, I can't argue it. I mean, they may be right. So.
Well, you know, what good is college football without a little bit of trash talk? But really strong run for you. 24 laps led on the evening. We saw a lot of mixed bag with pitch strategy. Just talk us through your race and how you went through making those decisions as far as when to pit, when to stay out.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing was just every caution, and this has bit me before, but like tonight it worked. I always treat every caution like the rest of the race is going to go green from that point. So that's how I make all my strategy calls. So as soon as I knew that I could make it, on just one more stop, or when we got to the point where knew I could make it on fuel, I'm always just going to go ahead and pit at that point. So that's what I did. I was stuck behind, or not stuck, but I was behind Gardner there for a while, and something happened on his pit stop on the last time me and him stopped, and was able to get in front of him, and from that point on I was the best car on tires until I wasn't, but I was in front at that point. But anyway, just like I said, just try to strategize like the race will go green, and it just happened to cycle me up to the front, and I was able to hang on for dear life at the end. So it worked out. But yeah, it was a good race. Been nice to have a few less cautions, but other than that, the racing was pretty good up front.
Now, you mentioned that your tires were the best until they weren't. You ended up finishing with a 12-lap disadvantage over both P2 and P3 on the tire category. Now, as we were coming into those final few laps, we started getting cautions. Did it make you nervous at all, having that
Absolutely.
disadvantage? Or Well, you,
absolutely. My
you managed
heart's
it pretty well.
yeah, my heart's still racing, honestly. But yeah, I just know, there was a point. I think it was before the last, or before the first green white checkered. I had like a second lead on Gardner, and the guys on new tires were like I don't know, there was 3 or 4 cars between me and them, so I felt really good there. And then we got a caution, and then we got another one, and then we got another one, and at that point they're right up my, on my bumper. So yeah, I told Pat and them, I said, "There's no way I'm holding y'all off here." But I don't know if they got a little racy behind me. Maybe I'm not sure. But like I said, if there was one more lap, I was gonna be finished because it was everything I had just to finish with that small gap that I ended up finishing with. So
Well, I appreciate that gap nonetheless, as you made me look good up here in the booth picking this hybrid 18 machine /6 on the
yeah,
track. So I
I'm not
appreciate
sure
you
what's
for that.
going on with that. We've got it set, Jamie. We've got it set in our racing. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but we'll try to get to the bottom of that this week. But yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Daniel, anything else?
Well, really strong run there tonight, Cody. We've got somebody again in the YouTube chat saying in his interview with a War Eagle, but tonight it's all roll tide roll for the six
Yeah.
car. Congrats on the win. Before we let you go here, Cody, who you want to thank, any sponsors or shout outs?
Yeah, I'd just like to, thank the title sponsor here of the Cup Series, Cruisin Classics and Nasties. I'd also like to give a shout out to Lincoln Tech, Save 22, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, and just all the other sponsors that make all this possible. We wouldn't be able to do it without them, and we can't say it enough. We appreciate you guys and everything y'all do for us.
Right. Well, there you have it from our race winner, Cody McElwain. Congrats again on the win tonight. Sure, we'll be talking to you again here throughout the season.
I hope so, man. Y'all have a fantastic night. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And that was our race winner. What do you say we get a word with our second place finisher and bring up the boss man himself, Patrick Drabick? Patrick, this is Daniel and Logan up in the V Speed booth. You got us?
I like how you act like I don't know who it is up there, but yeah, I got you.
Force of habit. Sometimes we got some new folks up in here that
Old
might not
age as
know who
well.
I am. Yeah, Logan's not letting me forget that he's younger than me. But
I
anyway,
was pointing the finger at Patrick there.
oh, okay. Well,
You might
yeah,
forget.
Yeah, can we
that
get on with
works.
some professionalism here? Come on.
This is the quality that you've come to expect from us as broadcasters here at V Speed.
True.
Pat, really strong run for you tonight, finishing in P2. You had some adversity throughout the evening. We saw that contact on the late restart with the 57 of Jeremy Gardner. Just walk us through what happened and what you saw from your seat on that restart.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it was a tough race. I mean, all the way around. And I made a mistake earlier in the race, got really, really loose, ended up collecting up my teammate, Ryan Pendleton there. So definitely not the cleanest of races for me. Yeah, that last restart definitely had the fresher tires there. And it looked like Jeremy was a little bit either didn't quite get the shift correctly or whatever. And so I got a run on him going low. And he just kind of kept coming down and not a whole lot I could do there. So I mean, I hate it. I hate that anything like that ever happens, and I definitely hate it for Jeremy. He ran a really, really good race, but I mean, I was about as low as I could get, and not a whole lot I could do in that situation.
Well, let's take it back to the highlight reel then. You mentioned the issue early on where you collected with Ryan Pendleton, but
Yeah.
you ended up putting together a fantastic drive back up through the field. And you made it sometimes look easy. Sometimes it looked like it was quite a battle as you got to the middle part of the field around the P7 to P10 area. Tell me a little bit about that. How difficult was it navigating the dirty air, and also there's the strategies all over the place, multiple tire strategies in the field.
Yeah, I saved a set of tires for the end. So even when I spun that time, I didn't swap out the tires. I didn't want to use my last set of tires. I wanted the last set of tires for a run like this at the end. But trying to carve your way through the field was difficult. I mean, there wasn't much of a difference in lap time between some of the older tires and newer tires. So it became difficult to make passes, and you just had to really figure out where they were running their line and where you wanted to put your car. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I clicked on something at the end of practice and in the first part of the race, and really found a line that worked for me, and I was pretty fast with it. So I felt pretty confident even after falling back that I'd be able to carve my way back up through the field again. But it was a whole lot of fun, except for when it wasn't fun.
Yeah,
Well,
ideally that's how it goes.
yeah, that's usually the way. It's fun until
Yeah.
it isn't. But
Yep.
man, solid performance. Had a really
Thank you.
good recovery. That Indiana Hoosier scheme looks really good out there on track as well. Before we let you go here this evening, Pat, who you want to thank? Any sponsors or shout outs?
Yeah, always Jam Printing and Promotions. I usually run their car and everything like that, wearing the shirt here tonight. They're an awesome veteran-owned company doing a lot of really cool stuff for us. We got a lot of merch going up to the Sim Expo this weekend. So if you see us up there, need a hat or shirt or whatever, come see us. And then, of course, Cruisin' Classics and Nasties, who've been with us forever. Love having the Cruisin' Classics series each and every year. And it's so much fun to put these cup cars on the track with those. You guys up at V Speed, I mean, you guys are killing it. I don't need to say it. We say it a ton of different times. I can't say enough about the awesome job each and every one of you are doing, except for Lucas Lyons. And then Alexander PCs. I mean, we're going to be hanging out in a booth with Alexander PCs all weekend long up there in the Schaumburg Convention Center. So if you happen to be up in the Chicagoland area and want to check out the Sim Expo, we're actually in the booth with Alexander PCs. So, but yeah, man, fun race, awesome race. I hate the way that it ended. Still don't feel the greatest about it, but we'll take a second place finish and we'll move on to next week.
Taking a shot at the producer when he can't mic up to defend himself. I love it. That's the boss man, Patrick Drabick. I'm sure we'll be talking to you some more. We'll see you next week in Atlanta.
See ya, brother.
And now let's go ahead and get a word with our third place finisher that's been patiently waiting, and that is Cody Bame. Buddy, this is Daniel and Logan up in the V Speed booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
Doing good, buddy. Well, man, I know I believe this was your first race of the season. I think you missed the first night. So you definitely made a name for yourself out there this evening. Saw you up there ripping the fence in a way that really we didn't see anybody else consistently doing. What did you find up there on that high line to be able to make that work so well this evening?
I'm not really sure I found anything. I think I kind of just found that I sucked running the bottom because, I mean, the one lap I did run on the bottom, I think I spun out in front of the field. So kind of figured I probably shouldn't do that. I don't know. I mean, everybody, like that first run, I think I was in 10th place, and everybody was just kind of just riding around behind each other on the bottom. And I was like, screw this. I mean, might as well try it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes it rewards rewards the daring or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I was just like, screw it, see what happens. And then I started just rolling off a bunch of spots and just kept doing it.
And you might as well. You don't fix what's not broken. As we saw you charge back through the field with a whole lot of speed. You're coming off the corner exits with anywhere from 4 to 6 mile an hour over the car coming off the bottom. Now, let's expand on that a little bit here. You were struggling on the bottom, but not on the top. Typically, it's the reverse role of that type of situation. I believe Daniel mentioned a lot of dirt background here on the iRacing service. Do you might equate that to your success up there on the top line, the Larson line, as you will?
I mean, I don't really run a lot of dirt, but I think, I think racing in real life, it's just everybody just wants to ride around the bottom because it's easier. But if you're faster than somebody, you just got to go where they aren't. And, that's the whole first run. I mean, the air was so dirty on the bottom. I just didn't want to sit there and roast my tires off. So I just kind of thought, I mean, everybody says ripping the top around here and, different tracks, it burns the tires off. But I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at melting the tires off no matter where I am. So might as well do it where it's faster.
And I've personally always found speed on the top line at Homestead. I'm surprised that you were one of the very few doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, for the life of me, I can't run the bottom in this place. And it's frustrating. I wish I was good at it, because it seemed, I mean, the 4 car was better than me and he could pass me, even deep into a run. I kind of just wish I was good enough to stay down there and maybe take the air away from him and maybe be harder to pass. But, I just so uncomfortable on the bottom lane. I just had to run the top.
Well, really solid run. Real quick before I get you sponsors and shout outs here, I got to rib you a little bit. It was college night. You broke up the costume party that we had going on. The next theme night we have is at Darlington for favorite band night. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure you got plenty of notice that you know about that one so that you can have something planned up for that one. But you really solid run tonight. Good recovery from the earlier spin that you had. And before we let you go, who you want to thank, any sponsors or shout outs?
Well, I just want to admit to your point. I mean, I think I can figure out I think I can figure out a way to make the Pantera car look good about Firewall deep in the wall at Darlington. But I definitely want to shout out you guys for doing a great job at the broadcast. I mean, I've never ran in this league before, but I've definitely watched the broadcasts and clips on YouTube or whatever, and was always very, very impressed at how professional you guys are. But I definitely want to shout out, iRacing, MK Fire Design, Sim Motion, and the Cruisin Classic guys, and just the whole league for putting on a good race. And seems like a good bunch of guys. It just good fun racing when we were having green flag runs. Definitely happy to find a home on a Wednesday night.
All right, well, there you have it from our third place finisher, Cody Bain. Appreciate you hanging around, giving a word with us, and good luck as we head to Atlanta next week.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to do it for our post-race interviews here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Logan, that was just some phenomenal racing, a wild finish. Just, do you have any final thoughts on that before we look ahead to next week here in the Cruisin Classics Next Gen Series?
Oh, overall, a great race. Obviously, a script being flipped from the season opener, green to checkered just a week ago, this time with 10 cautions, but it kept it exciting here at Homestead. Notoriously, those green flag runs can get very single-filed out, and we did not really have that much happen here tonight. A lot of side-by-side battling. Very fun to be a part of. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to step in here for Jake Reeves tonight. Appreciate Jake covering for Friday night, as I will actually be making my way up to that event with Goat Locker in Chicago. Looking forward to this weekend, hanging out with some of these guys for the first time.
Yeah, definitely going to be a cool event. Appreciate you filling in here. We got a little flip-flop on the Wednesday and Friday broadcasts. And for those that are going to be in that Chicago area, head over to that Sim Expo. You can meet some of Goat Locker's own between admins, broadcast crew. Be quite a few that are there. I think a couple drivers that are going to be hanging out there as well. But next week for Goat Locker, we're headed to New Atlanta, Atlanta Dega, whatever you want to call it. We're headed to Atlanta next week for the first of 2 of our Dash for Cash races, something that we're going to highlight throughout the week. Going to be able to see that here, same place, same time here on V-Speed in the Next Gen Cruisin Classic Series. Going to be a wild race there, probably similar to what we saw tonight with a lot of close side-by-side action, and we're going to have it all covered here for you. But folks, that's going to do it for our broadcast coverage this evening. And on behalf of Patrick Drabick and Jamie Barkis, as well as everyone at Goat Locker Racing, Braden Baker and Bradley Cooper at V-Speed, our producer Lucas Lyons, and also our stand-in co-commentator Logan Threlkeld, and also those camera angles provided by Dougie Beard. My name is Daniel Cunningham, thanking you once again for tuning in on V-Speed, and we'll see you here again next week, same place, same time, take on Atlanta Motor Speedway.